Are we making content? We're talking Starbucks? By the way, it's not even great coffee, but if you're going to go to a Starbucks, support their unionization effort. Let's talk Starbucks. The Starbucks union leader fired in Raleigh. Raleigh, North Carolina, the union claims. It took me a second. I'm like, Raleigh. Send in the Viet Cong. I'm sure Uncle Ho's got something to say about this. Starbucks union leader in Raleigh's claiming she was fired this weekend, days ahead of a union election. They fired her right ahead of the union election. By the way, they can do that. That's legal. As long as, well, even if it's not legal, the NLRB can't really do much. And that's sort of by design. We got to ask ourselves why. Starbucks district manager Ed Harvey fired union leader Sharon Gilman Saturday after an incident when a sink fell on her. A sink fell on her as she was working.
Why?
She believes she was wrongfully terminated because of the activity in the union. Being used as an example to intimidate my coworkers from voting yes. Are they firing her for a workplace accident? What the fuck? They're saying no, it's unrelated. They said they were fired for violating workplace safety. Well, that's convenient for them. Gilman's working at the 3-compartment sink. All right. And now I get to test chat. Have you ever used the 3-compartment sink? Or are you a bougie piece of shit? You know what I mean? Give me 69 in chat if you've used the 3-compartment sink in your life.
Nice.
Damn it. Let's see it. Nice. Here we go.
Nice.
Yep. You work in food service, that'll happen. I worked on a trail crew. We had a 3-compartment. It's actually just a smart way to clean your dishes. So we got a lot of bougie people that have never used the 3-compartment sink. Why are you watching my stream? Why don't you go get a real job? All right. So it collapsed from a wall, nearly injuring her.
Nice.
They say it was because she was misusing company policy? Alleged that she intentionally pulled it off the wall? What the fuck?
Nice.
Maybe if that sink can be pulled off the wall, it's like not working the way it should be. Heard her scream when it happened. I could see how scared she was when the sink collapsed on her. She had no reason or means to break it on her own, and everyone who worked that night knows that. That is wild. This makes Starbucks look so bad. How do they not know this? I can't believe it. So this is just, we have every reason to believe, and they have every reason, we have every reason to expect them to prove that it wasn't the case, that they were retaliated against. They were fired because they're unionizing. They're gonna make it as hard as possible for these people. They're gonna punish these people as much as they can to intimidate and just sort of, just be maliciously awful, which is the job of the capitalist. And at the end of the day, it's literally their job. They don't have a real job. If they do have a job, it's their job to be terrible people. It's their job to exploit. It's their job to not care about their employees. Think about that. If they did, they'd let them unionize. So it's literally their job to not care about their employees' needs and wants. Just let that simmer. And that will always be the case until there's democracy in the workplace. Incredible stuff over here. Incredible stuff. And they did it right before the election. Our ballots are supposed to be mailed at the start of the week, and the incident they're firing her for happened 2 months ago. Wow. Hold on, what? Very clear this is an effort to stop our unionization, they say. Okay. Starbucks. Stop it. Let's talk about Schultz a little bit. I got a 60 minutes.
Overtime.
Overtime.
Who would have believed that Americans would line up by the millions to pay $4 for a cup of coffee? Who would have imagined we'd go
This is from 2017.
into a coffee shop and casually ask for a double tall, one pump, vanilla skim caramel macchiato? What the heck is a macchiato anyway? Well, the guy who did
coffee and
believe
cream
is
and
Howard
sugars,
Schultz,
like all the same
star
shit.
of Starbucks.
I don't know exactly what a macchiato is. I should know. I should know better. But it's all the same.
Is given
that
to leaps
complicated.
of imagination. He had to be. He started out as a poor kid in Brooklyn who sold his own blood just to get through college. Today, as head of a $29 billion multinational corporation,
foam on the top?
Schultz is not without his critics. Some mockingly call Starbucks $4.
Okay, hold on. Yeah. It's got foam on the top. Shots poured through. Barista in the chat. Yeah.
But when we met Schultz, we found a salesman and a showman who is creating his own subculture and intends to take the whole world along.
At the Starbucks headquarters in Seattle, they don't drink coffee like you and me. That's Howard Schultz analyzing.
It's hilarious. The Starbucks coffee sucks, and he's like going like. He's like going. He's like a sommelier. He's like trying to act like he's a sommelier with the coffee. He's like, hold on. I'm getting notes of wormwood.
each slurp as though he's letting you in on a secret.
You taste that earthiness like a Bordeaux wine.
That is pretty
Earthy. Like a Bordeaux wine. What the fuck I just say?
good.
That's something.
That is something. Here, people called coffee masters talk about finding romance and passion in a cup like they were cream and sugar. Schultz has brewed up a coffee culture that's sometimes a little hard to swallow.
I cannot believe what I'm seeing right now. Starbucks coffee's not good. You are seeing manufactured consent.
One of our colleagues coined a phrase a long time ago and said, "We're not in the business of filling bellies. We're in the business of filling souls."
Oh, now come
That's-
on. No, wait a minute. That's but this is a company. This is a corporation. Come
Okay,
on.
it is a corporation.
You're blowing smoke now.
No, I mean, this is how we feel. You might say, okay, they're full of crap.
He's taking them for a ride.
And, you know, this is how we feel. We're in the business of human connection and humanity, creating communities in a third place between home and work.
I've got to tell you, I've been kicking around
Oh my God. You have to think about how wild this is in the context here.
your headquarters here for the last couple of days, and I will admit, if you'll let me use a different beverage metaphor,
Okay.
the people around here
Oh my God, dude. He's gone full Joker mode, man. Look at this guy. Oh my God, I'm tripping balls right now.
really seem to be drinking the Kool-Aid. They really seem to be completely steeped, to use another beverage
Right.
metaphor, in this philosophy bit.
But it's not a cult. This is a corporation. It is a for-profit business. But our approach for 30 plus years has been unique and different.
He's talking to the investors right there.
Not better, just different.
That approach created a company that now doubles its sales every 3 years. Created a company that now doubles its sales every 3 years.
How many stores are you opening as we speak?
We have 11,000 stores in 37 countries. It's an unbelievable number to me, to be honest with you. We're opening 5 new stores a day.
That's a new store every 5 hours, 24/7.
Yeah.
He's so weird to me. Watch his reaction.
Day.
That's a new store every 5 hours, 24/7.
Yeah.
There really are Starbucks across the street from each other. They do that to cut down on the lines. Starbucks says it has 40 million customers a week, 40 million, and it brews 227 million gallons of coffee a day. The operation that feeds that monster is massive. Have a look at this roasting plant that we toured outside Seattle. They ship in green coffee beans from 28 countries. This plant will go through up to 2 million pounds of beans in a week, and there are 4 plants just like this one. Starbucks has become so pervasive, it's spliced itself into the national DNA.
One day, every house in America will have their own private plumbing to Starbucks.
Oh my
Can I
God.
help you?
I'd like to get my ear pierced.
Well, better make it quick, kiddo. In 5 minutes, this place is becoming a Starbucks.
There is a bit of a Starbucks blowback.
Sure.
Rolling
sucks.
into town, crushing the life out
It sucks. It really sucks. If it's the only coffee in town, like, I'll grab it, but it sucks.
of the mom and pop coffee shop.
We are so different, and when people understand that, they welcome us. For example, first off, we created an industry that did not exist. And in our wake, the momentum of Starbucks, so many local and regional companies and mom and pops have not only surfaced, but succeeded.
Still, Schultz has felt the wrath of anarchists who trashed a Seattle store in an anti-globalization riot.
There is a criticism, and you've heard it,
Yeah.
that Starbucks is homogenizing the world. That you're taking the culture out of places in China and Japan and Americanizing them.
I've heard that.
And it irritates you.
It's not that it irritates me, it's just, it's off base.
And when people say you're an evil empire bent on world domination, you say...
I hate that. I hate that. But I realize you're always going to have critics.
The story will continue after
Wow. Wow. I'm in like popcorn eating
this. This
mode
is the
over here.
original Starbucks, a small store with no big plans. It opened in 1971 on Seattle's seafront. Starbuck is the name of a character in the novel Moby Dick. Here, in the Pike Place Market, there's salt in the air and salmon too.
Another one.
Schultz came here as an appliance salesman, pushing coffee makers. He stopped at Starbucks to make a sales call.
When I walked in this store for the first time, I know this sounds really hokey, and I knew I was home.
So he quit his job and went to work in the store, which at the time was selling just beans and machines. Adding an espresso bar was his idea. A few years later, he was offered a chance to buy Starbucks, which by then had grown to 6 Seattle stores. He set out to find investors.
If I came to you in 1987 and I said to you, even though coffee consumption in America is down, I want to build a company that was going to sell coffee not in a porcelain cup, but in a paper cup, with Italian saying words that no one could pronounce, for $3 a cup of coffee, would you invest?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Well, you would have had a lot of company.
But if I had invested $10,000 at the start, it would be worth more than $5
He
million
weirds me out.
today. How did he do it? With marketing and salesmanship and even, he admits, a little hype.
But please tell America and
Yeah.
the rest of the world why the small drink is called a tall.
Well, I think, when you walk into a store, you don't want to say, give me a small. You want to say, give me a tall. And so there's a little bit of marketing in
Oh,
there.
I hate him. I hate that so much. I hate it so much. That last bit, that's the worst. I can't believe what we just saw there. All right, if you need to know one thing about Howard Schultz, other than that last video, it's this sort of like a meeting that Howard Schultz is having with some of the Starbucks partners, the baristas, etc., that were unionizing at the time in Buffalo. A couple of stores at this point have unionized. This is before any of them had unionized. They pulled in Howard Schultz, who is still who is not the CEO at the time. He's currently acting CEO because the CEO stepped down the day after the NLRB ruled that Starbucks had, broken the law by retaliating against and firing one of their employees, one of their unionizing employees. I can't remember where that was. Okay, there's all that context. Here he is pretty much giving a speech, like talking to the partners. The partners, I don't know if they have to be at this meeting. I don't know if they're even being paid for it, but it's sort of one of these things where if you don't go, they're going to make note of it, and your managers may fire you. They could fire you for any reason. They could fire you for any reason in this country as long as it's not like blatant discrimination. So just wrap your head around that. Here we go.
Oh, wait, can you go back just a little bit? Pause it for 1 second. Pause it for 1 second. Just go back because we want let's start it here, please.
That when people in Germany and in Poland
Here we go.
were sent to the concentration camps, they were thrown into rail cars, and sometimes the journey was 8 hours, 10 hours, 15 hours.
Dude, they're unionizing, man. Like, the unionizing people, are they Hitler in this analogy? What is going on, buddy?
No light, no water, no food. And when they arrived at the camps, the rail cars were slammed open, and you could hear that metal door just right against the cold weather. Men were separated from women, and women were separated from children.
Pause it.
And one
I just
want to say that it's sort of convenient for them that it's COVID time. Otherwise, you'd see everyone's fucking jaws on the floor over here.
I just want to make it clear what this is. It is...
I don't want to hear your comments. I want to hear Schultz. Go back. Sorry, Sam.
Continue. Yeah.
Should be implied, but...
Sorry, Sam.
Men were separated from women, and women were separated from children. And one person for every 6 was given a blanket. One blanket for every 6 people. And the person who got the blanket had to decide what to do with this blanket that I have for myself. And not everyone, but most people shared their blanket with 5 other people. And the rabbi says to me, take your blanket and go share it with 5 other people. And so much of that story is threaded into what we have tried to do at Starbucks, is share our blanket. Second story.
It hurts. It hurts me hearing him tell this story. Share our blanket by firing employees that are trying to unionize. What the fuck? He's the worst. And they pulled that guy back in to be CEO after their CEO resigned. That's what we're dealing with. This is what we're looking at heading forward. More of that. All right, so Democracy Now! had a piece about Starbucks. 200 Starbucks and counting. 200? I thought it was 100 just the other day. Barista Jazz Brizak says union busing can't stop worker solidarity.
As we turn to get an update on the growing union efforts led by...
This is blamey bad person on the Democracy Now!
Starbucks workers across the country. The historic movement began when a single Starbucks store in Buffalo, New York, voted to unionize in December. Now, 200 stores have filed for union elections, covering over 5,000 workers in at least 30 states. Starbucks Workers United has successfully unionized over a dozen Starbucks shops, including in New York, Arizona, Washington, Tennessee, Missouri. And on Monday, workers at 2 stores in Boston.
This escalated quickly.
Boston and Brookline, Massachusetts, unanimously voted to unionize. Just last week, workers at the high-end Starbucks Reserve Roastery in the Chelsea neighborhood of Manhattan voted to become the first Starbucks to unionize in New York City. It's one of the largest Starbucks in the world. This all comes despite an aggressive union-busting campaign from the Starbucks Corporation that includes firing pro-union workers in retaliation and forcing workers to attend anti-union meetings. The National Labor Relations Board has called on a ban on this practice, arguing it's illegal under federal law. Meanwhile, the NLRB says it's planning to formally accuse Starbucks of illegally firing a group of 7 workers who were fighting to unionize their Starbucks store in Memphis, Tennessee.
7? They fired 7. They think they're going to get away with this? My God, dude.
Last Monday, Starbucks billionaire CEO Howard Schultz spoke out against the unionization drive during a town hall meeting with about 15,000 employees.
Fuck this guy, dude.
Now,
it's the same, like... I hate this guy.
Where it gets a little sensitive, because I've been coached a little bit, but I do want to talk about something pretty serious. We can't ignore what is happening in the country as it relates to companies throughout the country being assaulted in many ways by the threat of unionization.
Holy fucking shit, dude.
For more, we're joined by Jazz Brzak, barista at the Starbucks store in Buffalo, New York. That was the first location in the U.S. to unionize with Starbucks Workers United. Welcome back to Democracy Now!, Jazz. Talk about this. I mean, you guys started it in Buffalo. Now, 200 stores in more than 30 states. Talk about your strategy and respond to Schultz.
Thank you so much for having me first. It's been incredible to see this turn into this kind of national movement. I mean, we've had support from the beginning from partners across the country, and the first store to file after Buffalo was actually a Mesa, Arizona store whose manager was retaliated against for telling us exactly what all of these people coming into Buffalo were actually up to.
Wow.
And when Starbucks retaliated against her and fired her before she had the chance to finish her time at Starbucks after resigning, they were the first store to petition outside of Buffalo. But from there, it's been incredible. I feel like it's almost, I'm not even able to keep up with how many more stores have been launching. Wow. So it's incredible to see so many folks. And the first store in the South won a few weeks ago in Knoxville, which was really incredible. The Memphis folks are still, not only did Starbucks fire 6 out of the 7-person organizing committee, but they also have still delayed that vote from actually being scheduled with the labor board. Wow. But it's incredible to see more people joining and this movement growing. And I think we all know that that's how we're actually going to get the kind of contract that we can sign and that partners deserve, is by continuing to get stronger and show that despite everything, we keep overcoming that union busting and standing together in solidarity. And I mean, I think it's ridiculous that Howard Schultz is first this threatened by unions, because we've said from day one, you know, we're not doing this because we're opposed to Starbucks. We're doing this because we want to make Starbucks the best that it can be and the most sustainable that it can be. It says it's.
That's such a red flag. Unionization is a threat? To who? Well, if the workers say non-unionization is a threat to them and union busting is a threat to them, that's not a worry to Howard Schultz. But the threat that unionization poses to his multinational company should be a big red fucking flag to us that he's sort of giving away the game. He's sort of saying the quiet part loud. But again, he's not talking. He's in front of, yes, all these Starbucks partners, 15,000 of them talking, but he's actually communicating to his investors. That's his job as the CEO. His job as the CEO is not to tell the workers what to do. That's the manager's job. And they'll fire the managers if they don't do their job. Now, it's his job as CEO to communicate to the investors. Now, he appears that he's talking to the workers, but he's not. That's not what's happening. He's flexing his willingness to say the quiet part loud in front of their faces as a means to almost say, hey, you're too fucking dumb to realize I'm saying the quiet part loud to your fucking faces. And I don't know. It appears that Starbucks workers are not that dumb.
Company that celebrates, all of these other forms of activism, LGBT rights, environmental justice, Black Lives Matter, and then suddenly it's being assaulted by labor rights. So that doesn't make sense. That's not consistent with what the Starbucks says it is. But I think, we've seen Howard come to Buffalo and make really inappropriate comparisons to the Holocaust, and now we're seeing him say that he's being assaulted. So I think, he tries to acknowledge that it's a sensitive subject, but he's still really missing the mark on how to talk about it.
And Jazz, what's your reaction to the news that Amazon workers at Staten Island warehouse
I'm muted. That's good. That's for the best. I was being stupid.
House at the start of this month voted to form the country's first Amazon union?
Absolutely ecstatic. That was the same day as the roastery win, which was really an amazing thing to have both of those coming together.
Amazing.
And I think it shows, we as workers and as a labor movement can take on, 15 baristas in a tiny Starbucks or 8,000 workers in an Amazon warehouse as long as we are standing together.
This is so cool to me. Like, you look at these people and like, they're not like reading Marx. I'm not like trying to judge them based on looks. I'm just like saying, these are just like regular people and they're being pushed to unionize. They're being pushed into like labor actions just by just feeling the full weight of capitalism on them, feeling the weight of exploitation. And maybe they don't have the theory, but they're like, fuck this shit, man. This is enough. It's enough. And we're having people tell us by unionizing, we'll have more say in the workplace. We'll have more democracy. This is why the go just read theory people can shut the fuck up. But, if you're in like my game and you're like trying to analyze shit, yeah, go read theory. Yeah, it's different. You get me?
And finally, the retaliation against workers. We just have
Did Amy Goodman like sneeze into her shirt? What is going on here?
30 seconds, Jazz.
I think it's been almost a scorched earth strategy.
I think it's going to get worse.
Not only has Starbucks been firing vocal union leaders like the Memphis 7, like Layla in Arizona, like Cassie Fleischer and others in Buffalo, but they've been slashing hours across the country to try to purge everyone and force everyone to quit or have to get other jobs.
And then when they get another job, they fire them. They're like, oh, I'm sorry, you can only have one job.
And then telling them, oh, suddenly your availability doesn't meet the needs of the business.
Sorry.
If we...
Yeah.
The only...
5
however,
seconds.
This is all showing just how much we need a union because, together we can fight back against all of these things.
Amy Snot Rocket Goodman. I'm gonna like blow my nose one day. There's gonna be a snot in my mustache, and I'm never gonna be able to live it down. But until then, I get the upper hand on Amy. All right, that's the clip. Please, if you're watching the YouTube video, make sure you comment there down in the comments. Boof, thanks for the 1312 biddies. Love your face. Like the video. It really helps. Subscribe, hit the bell. Make sure you notify yourself of all my videos. I'm posting replay, react clips like this one, and also interviews. My formal sit-down interviews with based and never cringe and always objectively good friends. Thank you for watching. Love your face. All right, stream's not over, though.